Hey guys, Brady here, and I know I haven't done videos in a long ass time. I kind of do it sporadically now whenever I want to. But I saw the Marvels last night, or not last night, but yesterday afternoon before I went into work, and I just want to talk about it. Um, Now, before I get on with anything, before I get on with like the story and whatnot, this movie is not a complete train wreck like everybody wants it to be. It's still a mediocre movie. It's not a good movie. It's far from being the best MCU movie. It's far from being the worst MCU movie, in my opinion. Um, I would definitely watch this over like um, Iron Man 2 or Thor: The Dark World or um, Shang-Chi, or even Eternals. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of Shang-Chi. Anyway, that's besides the point. Um, but uh, it's just a very mediocre movie. It's like it's rushed. The villain is um forgettable, not menacing. She lacks gravitas. Um, she's just like Marvel is known for its weak villains, but even their weak villains, in my opinion, I enjoyed. Like I know a lot of people didn't like the villain in the first Doctor Strange movie. I thought he was a pretty good villain in my opinion. Mads Mikkelsen, I don't know what his character was, but Mads Mikkelsen, um, I thought he was a pretty cool villain. There's just nothing about this villain. She's barely on screen, and when she's on screen, she barely has any lines. She's just like kind of like scowls at the camera with like her uh, terrible acting, like I'm evil type look. It's like no, no, like who even is this person? I don't even know who she is. Anyway, um, but it's Rush. It's the shortest MCU movie to date, clocking in at an hour and 45 minutes. And it's an hour and 35 without credits. Um, so the movie ends at the 95-minute mark. Um, and there's an end credit scene. I didn't stay for it. I didn't really care for it. I already know what it is. I'll just wait for someone to um, upload it to YouTube or something. I know it's Beast, Kelsey Grammer's Beast, and yeah. So anyway, the pretty much the basic of this movie, the plot of this movie is uh, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and Miss Marvel. They switch powers whenever they like do like this one move. Like these two moves, like if they do like the same move at the exact same time, that their powers like switch up and whatnot. Um, Kind of confusing, or not confusing, kind of hard to explain. But um, shit, what was I gonna say? Yeah. Um, I walked into this movie with really low expectations. Um, Sorry, hold on, my hand itches. I walked into this movie with very low expectations. Um, uh, I know nothing about Miss Marvel. I did not care to watch the TV show on Disney Plus, nor do I have Disney Plus. Um, I've seen all of WandaVision, so I know who Monica Rambeau is. But um, Kamala Khan was new to me. I didn't know who she was until I saw this movie, and I thought she was a pretty good character. She would probably be me if I was um, a D-list superhero and I was with other D-list superheroes. I'd probably be her if I was like some D-list superhero and I'd be with and I was teamed up with like Ant Man and Hawkeye. I would probably just be like fanboying all over them, be like, "Oh my god, you're Hawkeye! Oh my god, you're Ant Man!" That she's probably me if I was a superhero, and so that was pretty much my takeaway from her character. Um, but she was the heart of this movie. She was probably the best part. Um, I think the chemistry between the three of them were pretty good for the most part. Um, and Brie Larson was likable in this movie. She was like a plank of wood in the first Captain Marvel movie, but in this movie she was fine. She didn't like bother me like she did in like the first movie. The first movie she was just like very emotionless and didn't really do much. She was kind of unlikable. This movie they make an attempt to make her likable and they exceed for the most part. Um, but yeah, everything is just rushed in this movie. They go to like this fucking planet where um, you have to sing, and it's like this musical planet, and they built it. They kept building this thing up in like the trailers and the promotional material and whatnot. It's like, oh god, is this gonna be like an obnoxious scene? Thankfully, it's a very short scene in the movie, and I was relieved by that. Um, this scene is probably 5 minutes long. Any longer, it'd probably be obnoxious. And I like musicals, but uh, I don't know, like the fact that they were gonna put a scene like that in like this like giant space opera, or it's not really a space opera, but like giant big budget superhero movie. I was like, well, would that work? Um, they even how they did it, how they did it in the movie was very weird though. Like I was expecting to just do like a full on number, but like no, there'd be like, I'm going to go get cereal. How about you? And it's just like I don't know. I was expecting something different. Um, uh, sorry, my mind's all over the place. Um, yeah. So yeah, they have this feels like a straight to Disney Plus movie. That's how my friend described it, who liked the movie more than I did. Um, Although he agreed with all the points I made about the movie, all the negative points I've had towards the movie. But he's like, yeah, I agree with that, I agree with that, but I still really enjoyed it. Oh, whatever. But yeah, the Marvels. It's a very meh movie. I've sat through far worse movies than this. I think The Flash is a worse movie than this. I think uh, Joss Whedon's Justice League is a worse movie than this. As far as special effects go, I have to put that. As far as special effects goes, as people were saying how the effects in this movie weren't that great, and I thought the special effects in The Flash and the effects in Justice League were a lot worse than they were in this movie. I mean, just look at the like all the red and terrible CGI in Justice League, especially the CGI in Steppenwolf. That was awful. And then the whole like time travel sequence in towards the end of Flash with all the terrible CGI, this terrible CGI Nicolas Cage, a terrible CGI, Christopher Reeve and Adam West and all that. Um, yeah, I would probably watch this over those two movies again. Uh, to be brutally honest, some people will be like, yeah, this is worse. I'm like, no, in my opinion, it's not worse. Um, I'd watch this over Barbie. At least this movie didn't beat you over the head with its pro female message. Yes, it's a female driven movie, but it's not like Barbie where like they just beat you over the head with its feminist message and anti male this and fuck the patriarchy and all that. It was just a dumb mediocre film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Um, they've been on a losing streak lately. Um, I don't think all their movies they've done in Phase 5 are terrible. I thought Guardians was pretty good. Ant-Man was Ant-Man Quantumania was probably the weakest Ant-Man movie in the trilogy, but I didn't dislike it. Um, I thought Black Widow was a pretty fun espionage film, but Eternals, Thor: Love and Thunder, um, uh what's it called? Shang-Chi. Um they were mediocre, in my opinion. This was just, it was mediocre, but I don't know. It's hard to explain. Um I think the best thing to come out of the MCU recently is probably Spider-Man No Way Home and um probably Black Widow and Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Although Black Widow is kind of a pointless movie because we already know that Scarlett Johansson is dead in the movie, in the series. So making this movie right after she dies, just you, the stakes in this movie were in that movie weren't the greatest. As you know what happens to her, you know she's gonna make it out alive because we know how she fucking dies. Anyway, so I'm probably gonna give the Marvels 2.5 out of 5 stars. Um, it's a train wreck. No, it's not a train wreck. It's The Flash is a train wreck of a movie. This movie is pretty much just like a little fender bender, in my opinion. But yeah, uh, terrible green screen, mediocre villain, rush story, stupid scenes. Yeah, definitely. This kind of feels like MCU the Lost Episode type of thing. Like it's like definitely far from being the best in my opinion, way far. So yeah, 2.5 out of 5 stars.